Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and our Kings competitions. We're here, Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, how are we, my friend? It's been an
Hi,
eventful couple of weeks.
yeah. You've been away travelling, haven't you? So,
I have.
you've been on the other side of the Great Pond, and I'm heading there soon. But right now, I've been busy with Liverpudlians and the like,
You have? Go
and
on.
I've got bare knuckle this weekend in the Midlands as well.
How much fun is bare knuckle, by the way? We did like a hybrid event on Boxing Social, only it was not bare knuckle, it was 4 ounces, but we had boxers versus bare knuckle. It was fascinating stuff.
Yeah, LT Smash Nelson against Paul Connolly this weekend in Wolves. I'm heading down there tomorrow for the weigh-ins on Friday and the post-fight interviews and part of the broadcast team on Saturday night. Really looking forward to it. I mean, I get thrilled every time I go now. Bare knuckle boxing extreme. I think
Yeah.
it's 11 fights on Saturday night in the hangar at Wolverhampton. So raucous crowd. Generally, it's half the fights in the Trigon, in a tiny triangular arena. Half the fights finish in the first round. I think 89% finish in stoppages. It's all action. Starts at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. It's done by 9, and everybody goes home happy, and they go to wherever they're going after that.
Yeah.
But the narrative and the characters and the kind of ex-con stories and people who've got away from mental health issues and drugs and changed their life and the communities they're from. It's almost like some of the boxing stories on a growth hormone, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary, and I love it already. And I think I'm doing I want to say my fifth event that I've worked on, and I'm going to BKB 30 or 40, I think it's 39 or 40. This is 38. 3940 is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I'm told it's going to be an amazing event. So I'm really looking forward to it. Already just starting to do my research. I've got packs of research because we've got all the storylines of these guys. I love it. I love it already.
Yeah.
But you know me, I like all combat sports and I always have. I was one of the first to cross
Yeah.
to the dark side from the gloved art to go over to mixed martial arts. It's almost 20 years ago now. So,
Yeah.
I just think being involved and people telling people's stories and putting them out there is really important. Same as doing the Paralympics 10 years before that. You just know that these people deserve their stories to be told and that for their sport to be covered.
That's the romantic side of these combat sports, the fact you can tell these stories and give everyone sort of a view on how they've got to this position. Look, there's been a fair bit happened since we last spoke. Two fight
Yeah.
nights. Obviously, I was in Orlando. I believe you will have been present there for a Nick Ball victory. What did you make of Nick's performance? And obviously, the kick out. He's called out. Obviously, wants the Inoue fight as well, which is interesting. Believe he's got MJ lined up according to Eddie Hearn if he gets past his next fight. What do you make of the fight anyway?
Well, the fight, he dominated from the fourth round onwards. I thought he had a hard time for 4 rounds. TJ Doheny made it difficult for him. I was there, of course, live with TalkSport on the broadcast. Made it very difficult for him. I thought Doheny did very well. Doheny did very well for 4 rounds. And I think Nick ran away with it then for 6 rounds and was very dominant, very aggressive, really beat his opponent up. And I thought it was a merciful stoppage by the corner at the end of the 10th. And they did a great job. It was the right time. Obviously, the controversy. I mean, he had a point deducted for throwing his opponent down. I didn't agree with Mike Alexander on that. I think it was probably punishment for earlier in his
Yeah.
mind. I'm only saying this. I'm not in his mind. Where he probably didn't take severe enough action for the knee to the hamstring or the thigh of TJ Doheny, who had him in a headlock several seconds longer than he should have. I'm not sure he saw it, so maybe couldn't act on it. But that was either, if it had been seen from a certain angle, that could have been a disqualification,
Yeah.
especially as Doheny went down.
Yeah, immediately when I saw it, I thought there's a lot of risk in trying to knee someone live on television, and because I saw it and just thought, you've worked that hard to get to this point in one fell swoop. That could have just been taken away, but obviously he's reacted on emotion. Maybe the ref saw the headlock as well and thought sort of 6-1 maybe, but I don't know.
I spoke to Nick afterwards, after his fight, for the broadcast with the TalkSport mic, and he said it was frustration. I said, "Oh, your old Muay Thai days came out."
Yeah.
Then he went, No, it's just honestly, it was frustration. He was laughing about it, but he wouldn't have been laughing about it if it had been another referee who disqualified him, who hadn't got Doheny up from the ground and said, "No, box on." That was potentially, but given where it was, given that there were 10,000 in there, probably took all that into account, and it was the main event. But it was a very risky thing to do, and he did snap in that moment. He didn't go out of his way to want to do that, but it was quite heated in the week between them as well. So maybe just an emotional time for Nick. The key for him is that he's now retained his world title belt for the second time, and he's got the opportunity for bigger things ahead.
There's calls for Naoya Inoue. We know sort of, I think, the plan for Naoya Inoue now with this crazy week in May that's going to happen. He's got a fight there, which, with all due respect, people expect him to come through. They do most fights. I spoke to Eddie Hearn in Orlando. He's very reluctant to say anything on Inoue, which says to me that a deal for MJ for Ahmad Ledov is potentially close if they get through that. But would you be interested in seeing a Nick Ball and Inoue fight? It's fun on paper when you think about the styles, matchups, and Nick's aggression in the ring, the power of Inoue.
I think I'm not sure it's going to be organised straight away. Look, here's the background to it, which I think is key. He's got the WBA. Stephen Fulton's got the WBC, I think.
Yes.
Espinoza and Leo are the other two champions. Angelo Leo and Espinoza. So the great thing for Nick is that he's capable of beating all of those other champions. So if he wants to unify a belt in the summer, it's only March. If he wants to unify the belt in the summer and fight Naoya Inoue in December, because he's supposed to be scheduled to fight in Naoya Inoue is scheduled to fight on May the
third, is it, or fourth?
Well,
that weekend.
On the Sunday,
yeah.
With the Times Square card. Then you've got Skull and Canelo and Skull, and then you've got Naoya Inoue fighting Vegas on the Sunday. If Nick fights again in the summer and unifies, he unifies the titles. He can then carry two belts into the fight with Naoya Inoue if they fight in December. The great thing is he can wait till next year to fight Naoya Inoue, and that could be at Anfield if it had to be. You liking that? Your face? Does your face?
That's my team. So if I could watch a fight at Liverpool's ground at Anfield, that would be incredible.
So you weren't particularly happy to walk up Wembley Way on Sunday, then, yeah?
No, it wasn't a good time. No, I was actually I watched it in Orlando in floods of tears in a sports bar, but
I don't care.
I know you don't like football. No.
I don't care.
I know.
I'm delighted for Newcastle, though, after 70 years. You won more trophies. You've won more trophies, Liverpool, and you're about to win the league again, aren't you?
Yeah, but still,
you've got nothing to worry. You've got nothing to worry about, mate. I mean, but and I jest because I'm not really. Years ago, I was an Arsenal correspondent, but it's
many months,
30 years ago when Wenger came, anyway. So through that period, but the thing is, there's great options there for him, which is why it would have been terrible if anything untoward had happened. It would have been the worst luck in the world to have been disqualified for that knee after the first round. So I hope he looks back and goes, phew, I'm really glad it was that referee and it wasn't any worse than it was. Because it could have ended up in an all-out brawl as well with a different group of trainers and corners. 100%. We've seen it.
It's happened over the years. I want to just, some of this just come to my attention now. according to Boxing Scene, they've published this report on the proposed purses for this new league that TKO have put together. Don't know if you've seen it. So it says $20,000 for a 10-round bout by an unranked fighter, 50,000 when ranked by the company, numbers 5 to 10, 125 grand when ranked at 3 to 4, and then it's $375,000 when challenging for a
Plus a
company
win bonus.
championship.
Plus a win bonus.
Win bonus.
Yeah, I've heard they're getting double that so you'll get 750 if you win at the top of the league.
Yeah, 750 grand when defending the company championship. What do you make of that sort of format, of the initial sort of numbers?
Well, they're going to be building. It's really obvious they're building from the bottom up.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very obvious because, you can get that kind of money elsewhere. That's very much a UFC type structure, and remember, this is conjecture. No one's put this down on paper yet. It may have been leaked to them, but Boxing Scene are not Ring Magazine, and Ring Magazine are putting out either their own propaganda or their own breaking stories, and we know where that comes from. From His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh. Mm-hmm. So, who's written that story, by the way?
I was sent it as we were just speaking onto a post. It'll tell us when we click on it, but I've only just seen it come through as I've started this interview with Boxing Scene. It'll have been the last one that's been put on. Let's just have a look.
Yeah, but who wrote it is important to me. Who's written it?
Lance.
If it's not Pugmire.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Lance is normally on the money, and he's got very, very good contacts in the United States, and he's got good contacts. He was the LA Times boxing correspondent. I've known him many, many years. He's a very fine journalist. So that replicates, I think, a fairly popular champion defending their belt in the UFC. Not the top guy, but that represents for me, if you're a top 20 ranked fighter in the league, you might have a British title, a European title, a Commonwealth title. So you might be getting 100 grand if you've got a big following. This is the weird thing about it, right? It comes down to the algorithm of how many seats you sell, whether you're a former world champion who's where's Lee Wood ranked at the moment? He's in the top 10 of his division. Yeah. Lee Wood's fighting on that. He'd want to be having champions or number 2 or number 3 money. Simple as that. He wouldn't go for less than that after what he's earned in his career. A Jack Turner, who we saw at the weekend, who's 11-0 with 10 knockouts, who's early on in his career, hasn't got a belt yet. He's 2 years from fighting for a title. He's gonna not mind fighting for 25 grand and 25 grand win bonus. That's great for him. Yeah. So it's who they have in the league and how they run it. But my top line from that, Matt, I won't say any more than all of that for now, is they're definitely building from the bottom up, and you can see it from those figures. They're not attracting the biggest names.
No. Moving on from that topic then, Joseph Parker's call out of Oleksandr Usyk happens to be, I think, the best call out. Have you seen it, the little music video?
I have had a tiny glimpse of it. Someone indicated it at me earlier, and it's looks like they made it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shania Twain, is it?
Yeah.
Lovely song. Well, look, I've spoken in the background for several weeks to Andy Lee, Spencer Brown, Frank Warren, Joseph Parker himself, when he was at home with his family. And, I don't disagree with them. Andy Lee, Joseph Parker, and Spencer Brown, not necessarily Frank Warren, but those three all say that Joe deserves a title shot next. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's going to get one, whether it be WBO or Oleksandr Usyk, because it'll either be Usyk with the WBO or someone else for the WBO.
Vacant belt. Yeah.
But in my view, I think Joseph deserves the opportunity more than anyone else right now because of what he's done what he did in February against Martin Bakole on late notice and
Hmm.
the way he's gone recently. And I do think, in my view, Daniel Dubois slid down the ladder. Joseph Parker deserves that title shot. If anyone can get it done, it's Spencer Brown, as you know. You know,
Yeah.
if he can get that done, he will. But why don't Dubois and Parker fight each other? Because the winner of that will
Yeah.
have the WBO and IBF belts, and then they can fight Oleksandr Usyk for the undisputed.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do that, but is that a possibility? I'm hearing that Dubois and Usyk was set for summer, and in the rumours circulating in the background, and potentially Wembley Stadium, Tottenham.
Well,
Don't know
when
what
I
you've heard
spoke to
about
Frank Warren 2 weeks ago, he was headed for June. I think he kind of said then he was looking to do it in June at a stadium, either in the UK or in Riyadh. They must be having talks, but you know, my indications are that Usyk's talking not just to them either. So there's a possibility that there's a bit of finagling going on in the background. But like I said, I think Joseph Parker, opinion is Joseph
it. Yeah.
Parker deserves the world title shot at Oleksandr Usyk. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's Usyk and Dubois next. But Joseph Parker's going to be there in the mix. And you might disagree with this, but I wouldn't be disappointed if Parker gets an Anthony Joshua fight at Wembley either.
I think I think there's a narrative there to do that. I spoke to Eddie about Anthony Joshua, and he said he actually touched on Anthony Joshua's injury a little bit and said, look, he's just coming back and etc. Whereas beforehand, I felt like there was more movement coming towards a fight, but now we're kind of still waiting. Are they holding out to hear from Tyson? Do you think still?
No, I don't think they
Or
are at the
they
moment.
move
I don't
it?
think they are. But it's funny, isn't it? The whole division's in flux and everyone's fighting. And the
Yeah,
two names that aren't on anyone's lips at the moment are Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Who'd have thought that a year ago?
not me, not
No,
me.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, this Eubank Jr. bet, have you seen anything of it? He's teasing Eddie Hearn into putting your money up, even though Hearn's responded and put on his story that, look, board regulations state we cannot bet on this fight. So
Yeah,
he's,
I mean, the board regulations are right on that. I've made a few comments on this. It's just brinkmanship. But it's Chris Eubank really driving the screw in that additionally to on the Piers Morgan everywhere else that Conor Benn is a drugs cheat. That's what he's going to call him all the way through the promotion, and he's just screwing the nail in that, or hammering the nail in that he is utterly confident of beating Conor Benn. He's not £1 million confident because he wouldn't be betting 1 million on himself in reality. He knows he can't bet. And he knows the board are going to step across that. He shouldn't be betting 1 million because it's not that cut and dried either that he wins this fight. I have him as a favourite, but anything can happen in boxing and anything can happen when bloodlines are involved and there's this amount of passion involved. So I never thought the bet would get over the line. It's a game. It's another headline. It's
yeah,
another way of Chris Eubank showing his cool, calm, and calculated in what is going to be an amazing showdown.
yeah, can't wait. Look, it's not too far away either. It's creeping up on us. Look, we'll catch up again soon. We'll keep you to your thing. I know you've got people to speak to. Always appreciate you jumping on, and yeah, we'll touch in very soon.
It's a pleasure, Matthew, lifesaver. I shall catch up with you very soon.
You will. Have a good evening. Cheers, bud.
Cheers. Cheers.